Good morning, friends. Happy Aloha Monday. We are here live with another episode of Healing with Pumehana. I'm kind of excited to, forgive me, I am kind of excited to talk about today, or what we're going to talk about today, because it was really, really interesting, and it was actually a kind of proof that I have been, actually healing and moving through moving through all of the feels and all of the things that have held me back in the past. So, a little bit of context for you. Last week, this all happened last week Friday, on the day that I decided to do my family holiday photos. Now, typically, our family is super duper last minute, and the cards, the holiday cards that were supposed to be Christmas cards, usually end up turning into New Year's cards. And the funny thing is that I typically start thinking about and planning it before Thanksgiving, and then life just happens, and it gets pushed back. So this year, I was like, we're gonna be different, and I full on like put it on the calendar. Hey, this is the day that we're gonna go out and take photos. We're gonna do it at this beach. Fortunately, my husband is a photographer, so it's one of those like, okay, like it's one of those like on a whim things. We can go out and have photo shoots, and so we had planned it the Sunday before to do the photos, our family photos, on that Friday, and we're like, okay, I had the inspo, I had the Pinterest, the perfect Pinterest family photo that I was like, I want to look like that. So we decided, it was going to be on Friday at 5 o'clock because we wanted golden hour. And then we were going to bring our dog and all the things. Cut to, like, honestly, 2 days later, or my husband's schedule just got like packed and filled up. And we were like, I don't know if we're gonna make it. I don't know if it's gonna happen. And I was pretty distraught too, because at one, like I said, I was super proud of myself that I even planned it out and I scheduled it like a grown up. And that day, my husband, we weren't even planning on doing it. I kind of like just in a little bit of a hissy fit. I was like, okay, I guess it's not happening. I guess we'll figure it out. I kind of didn't even really prep my kids for it, which, if you have kids, prepping them for what's going to happen is very important. So, my husband actually came home maybe about 4 o'clock that day, 3:45, 4 o'clock that day. And we had originally planned for it to be at 5. So we were like rushing. I was trying to put my face on, trying to figure out what the girls were gonna wear and what my husband was gonna wear, and my 8-year-old, who is practically 16, comes back and is like throwing a fit and is like, I don't want to wear this. I don't want to wear this. I want to wear this. And there was just this crazy amount of like, I was in it, man. Because my programming was telling me, fight it. No, we are going to look like a perfectly coiffed and presented Pinterest family, right? I'm going to wear the dusty rose dress, and my husband's going to wear the gray shirt, and my other daughter is going to wear pink. And this daughter was supposed to wear a cute dress that was a blend of all of us. But no. This girl is like, she decides to embody the I'm a tomboy and comes with a denim jacket, a white shirt, and ripped jeans. And I'm just like, ugh. Everything within me was like, no, fight it. Like, it's just for 30 minutes. It's just one picture. It's not gonna, no, just, she's the one that needs to bend. And then there was the other part of me that was like, how important how important is it, right? Because the one thing that I noticed and that I loved about the picture, the Pinterest picture, the inspo, was that they were having fun. Like you could tell that they were laughing and smiling and giggling. And I was like, is this right here, right now, is the preamble, if you will. Are we setting ourselves up for success for this next section of our day, of our life? And I was like, no, no, it's not. And I had to, this was all happening like very, very quickly, but these questions were very important to me. And I subconsciously like tapped into my core values and what was important to me, because I was looking at my daughter and I was like, I want her to be able to express herself in a way that, especially specifically with clothes. Hi, we're girls, right? We want our outside to be a representation of our inside, right? And she was literally telling me, like, this is who I am in this moment. This is how I want to show myself. This is how I want to express myself. And to me, that was more important than any type of facade. So I did. I was like, whatever. Okay. This is whatever gets us out the door. Now, this is where the healing part was, because it was, what time did sunset happened at 5:52 or 5:53. And we were rushing. Fortunately, the beach that we wanted to go to was literally 15 minutes away, but we were on a time crunch. So between 5 o'clock and honestly, 5:30 or so, I was scrambling, right? I was trying to put my face on, trying to put my lashes on, making sure that the kids were good and nice and pretty. And my husband was fine. He just put on a shirt, and pants and whatever. But within that 20-minute period was me actively changing the narrative, right? I had to say it out loud. So it was, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. I needed to make it. I needed to feel it. I needed to say it, and I needed to embody it. In order for me to believe it. Because previously, the pressure, the condensed time, I always showed up from a place of angst, right? And I knew, intellectually we know. Everything just kind of ends up working out. And it has taken so much work for me to sit in, or not even just sit in it, but recognize, after the anxiety, when it came to, in previous experiences before, that, oh, hey, we're okay. We didn't die. It does just kind of work out, right? So this past Friday, this situation was me actively saying and reminding myself it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And I had to bring a bout of silliness to it, that everything's going to be okay. It's just, everything's working out for me. Everything's just working out for me. And I took that from, I don't know if any of you have heard of Abraham Hicks. Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, they're a channel from the collective, very woo-woo and hippy-dippy, but Esther Hicks is a channel for the collective consciousness, the unknown, the unseen, her spiritual guides called Abraham. And she has a lot of YouTube videos out there, and she talks about getting back into alignment, getting back into the flow of love, of gratitude, of energy, just tapping into, they call it the vortex, tapping into that vortex and that energy of what it is that you want to feel. And that's literally what I did. It was, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Everything just keeps, it's crazy. Things just keep working out for me. And saying that over and over again out loud was the work. It was the work. And it allowed me to reach. I understood and I knew that exactly where I was feeling it. I haven't finished the book, The Body Keeps the Score. I can't remember. I think it might be Viktor Frankl. But basically it's this idea that our body always knows. Our body knows things before intellectually our mind does, right? So when I start to feel that sensation, that tightness in my chest, that kind of heaviness, then I know something's up, right? A lot of times I also feel it in my shoulders. And I want to encourage that for you guys too, is once you're cognizant of the state that you're in and you can name it and label it, well, first of it, like feel where it is, right? Where are you feeling it in your body? And I'm going to say this until the cows come home, because healing happens from the inside out. So get in touch with your body first. Where are you feeling it? Where are your kind of trigger points, right? When you feel some type of way, where are you feeling it? Be it like, elevated in a high vibrational state of gratitude, of joy, of bliss, of excitement. Where are you feeling it in your body? What does that feel like? Is it in your chest? Is it a lightness? Is it, just a tingling sensation? Do you feel it in your head? Do you feel it in your shoulders? Or, what does that feel like? Conversely, what about the lower vibrational elevated state? What does that feel like to you? Do you feel like just this rock in the pit of your stomach? Do you feel that tightness in your chest? Do you feel tingling in your hands or your arms, like as if it's you feel a sense of out of control? You're out of control. Get in touch with what that is for you. Because once you start to notice that, once you start to get comfortable and almost, I want to say befriend that, come to recognize and familiarize with those sensations, then that's going to inform how you show up next or what's coming next, right? So coming back to it, I could feel like, okay, here's that familiar feeling, that anxious feeling, the tightness of the chest. Okay, I'm feeling like I'm out of control. I'm feeling like there's this kind of time constraint and pressure, right? We are literally like not fighting the clock, but we're racing time. It's that part in the movie when like the sun is going down. Remember, like in The Little Mermaid, right? Do you remember in The Little Mermaid where it was the third day and Ursula had said, when the sun sets on the third day, and that's literally what it felt like. We were scrambling, was trying to get everybody together as the sun was going down, because once the sun went down, then that was it. We'd have to wait till the next day to do this whole thing over again, which it would have been okay even if we did. It would have been okay even if we did. But, we were trying, we were striving, we were pushing. So what I needed to do was figure out what it was that I wanted to hear. In these times of anxiousness, in these times of pressure and stress, what is it that you need to hear? And tell yourself that it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Everything just works out for me. It always works out the way that it's supposed to. And there's this one belief that I did take from Gabby Bernstein. She's my idol. She is this incredible spiritual author, coach, leader, speaker. And she has the belief that I've adopted that everything works out for the highest good of all. And I have to believe that. I have to believe that, one, because that's what's going to calm and settle my nervous system. And it helps me shift my vibration, shift my frequency back to a place of love. That everything happens for the highest good of all. And to be honest, it could be like a hint of Delulu, but that's kind of what we have to do sometimes. Because there's things that are outside of our control. There's so many things that are outside of our control. But when we have this core belief that everything happens for the highest good of all, then it allows us that surrender. It allows us to release, to let go, and to come back to that which we only can control, which is our own actions, our own thoughts, right? So, also, lots of deep breaths, lots of breathing in through the nose, holding it, and then sometimes, more oftentimes than not, that audible exhale allows for just this crazy release, because it's just what we need. This and it sounds different. Sometimes it sounds differently. Sometimes it sounds like a sometimes it sounds like a but I believe that a lot of times we just need that sense of relief. Peace comes afterwards. The calmness, the peace comes afterwards. But right before the peace is relief. Just that it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And I think language is very, very important. The language that we use shapes our perspective. So I wanted to be very careful to not say everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's good. It's already because I wasn't there yet. I wasn't in a state in which my subconscious, my conscious believed that we were in a state that was good. We were getting there. And that's what healing is. We are always just getting there. We're doing what we can to get there. And so that's where my language came in. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. We're on the path. It's coming. Might not be here yet, but it's coming. From a manifestation standpoint, that's a little different. But it's still kind of that idea, right? That you're on the way. It's coming. We can go into we can have another episode on manifestation, but bring it back to right here, right now. So that's what I wanted to share with you. That my process when I was in a high elevated state, when I felt out of control, it was deep breaths. It was speaking things into existence. So ultimately, if you want to look at this from, like a logical standpoint, or, concrete logical standpoint, science driven, regulating your nervous system, bringing you back into that parasympathetic mode, deep breaths, getting grounded, coming back to the present, settling, bringing yourself back from that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn bringing it back, grounding yourself, and then using language to frame your reality, using language to get you on the path to where you want to go. So I'm curious, what are you guys going through? What is your process? I'd love to hear it, because let's be honest, we don't all want to hear Pumehana talk about just herself. I am so curious to see, what are some of the things that you are going through? What are the things that, experiences that you're having in your personal life, that cause a highly elevated state, in normal people terms, well, what triggers you? In normal people terms, what pisses you off? What is it that pisses you off? Like, new Family Guy, like, what really grinds your gears? Right? Because once you start to notice that, let's talk about it. What is it that grinds your gears? What are your pet peeves? What just makes you go, bleh, when you see somebody do that, or when somebody does something to you? Being able to notice those things. What's that quote? I think it's a Viktor Frankl quote that says, between stimulus and response, I'm going to butcher this, forgive me guys. Between stimulus and response, there is space. Within that space, there is choice. And within that choice, there is freedom. I love that quote, because it really just like kind of extends and opens up life and your experience, and really the kind of control that you do have. And so healing basically is being able to expand that timeline, right? Trigger, response. There's a space. It's called self-awareness. And I know a lot of us that are healing, a lot of us that are going through this, our self-awareness can be, a blessing and a curse. I know at one point I was like, can I just live? Can I please just live? Can I not have to heal? Can I not have to process every little thing in my life? And we can get to that point. But it's like an accordion, because as things happen, stimulus, response. What we want to do in the healing process is we want to expand that, right? Expand that time between stimulus and response, and pause, or at least slow it down, and ask ourselves questions. Hey, what just happened? What am I feeling because this just happened? It feels like you're moving in slow motion. Sometimes you can't do it in real time, right? Sometimes you can. Sometimes you can't. And that's where you go and you revisit. Trigger. Space. What am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? What do I need? I think those three questions, when you're processing, are so powerful. What am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? What do I need? And then from there, you get to choose your response. That's the freedom. That's what nobody can take away from you. And then as we keep doing this, as we do it over and over and over again, stimulus, space. What am I feeling? Where am I feeling? What do I need? Response. Then when we start to build that muscle, hold on, okay. What really grinds my gears are when people are disrespectful and constantly judge others. Always try to take a pause and not judge them back. I love that, Carrie. Thank you so much for sharing that. Absolutely. I think when I would totally agree when people actively create that separation, that separation between human connection, and I know that that is a core value of yours. When people violate that human connection, I think that really that hits close to us. And I just had a huge insight because I feel the exact same way. And what hurts specifically for me, it's when I see like my older daughter do that to my younger daughter. It like, oh, it's a stab in the heart. But I think that's what it is when people aren't mindful of the fact that we are all connected. And there's a lot of us out there who are actively creating that human connection. We are actively closing the gap between one another. Oh, big hugs. I see you, friend. Thank you for sharing that. Because that's all we really need. I think at the very, very root of it, we all need that human connection. We all want to be seen and heard. And, man, I know for myself, sometimes when I need, well, it's so interesting because sometimes when the one thing that we do need is that human connection, we often like blow up and push everyone away. Some of us do, at least, depending on our traumas or our trauma responses. But yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think we might be complete for today. And I hope that that's I would love for this to be one of the biggest takeaways is, you know, how we're framing the language that we use and how it frames our experience. Understanding kind of how we can go through life. That Viktor Frankl quote of between stimulus and response, there's a space. Within that space, there is choice. And within that choice, there is freedom in choosing, slowing things down, and choosing how we want to move forward. And within that space, asking, what am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? What do I need? Really getting grounded in that, allowing that to be a process. And reaching, having that hope to reach for a better reality. Saying it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Everything just keeps working out for me, and everything always works out for the highest good of all. So those things, out of those things, I guess, let me know what your biggest takeaway is. And I love to hear from you. So thank you so much for joining me again on Healing with Pumehana. I look forward to seeing you next week. Aloha.